All right, we're back on with Alex Fauvel. This is Gavin, and we're going to go ahead and talk everything about the Bitcoin space, including the B, some of the things that have been on the record about like the B's on the Bitcoin. There's different ones. You got the slanted B, the straight B, and the crooked B, and there's also these laser-eyed guys. Who are they? Where do they come from? And then of course, his dark to light game. So Alex, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks, Gavin. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming back on. It's great to see you again, and it was great to hang out in person there and earlier this year. So, let's we did talk a little bit about well, I don't know if I'm some of the things. Okay, yeah. Why don't you start with like, you? I saw you comment yesterday. I had a show with Rui de Silva, and they were talking about um the laser eye. These guys, and they're all over the internet, and it's something, I don't know. It's kind of a hot topic, but you see all this stuff with Michael Saylor and these people with the laser eyes. And I saw you make a comment about that. So where does that come from?
So, it's an interesting little factoid in that it doesn't actually come from Bitcoin at all. It comes from a editor of the New York Post who got censored on Twitter at the time uh, from posting a story that he'd written and posted in the news publication about a certain presidential elect son laptop. You can't say things, otherwise the algorithm hurts you. But he was censored from Twitter for it. And when he came back, he had laser eyes like Superman. And then that kind of just went as a meme throughout everything. And BTC people and crypto, a lot of the crypto people have kept it up for all that time for nearly 4 years. And a lot of them have now changed to copy Elon Musk, who went very briefly to blue laser eyes with a red and black background for your profile photo. They're just taking stuff from other, niches to be popular, basically, which is kind of what they've done with the actual technology. So it shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah. So the laser eyes it doesn't necessarily, it's not a BTC thing.
It is now.
Oh, okay.
They
It is a
stole it.
BTC.
It used to be just like a kind of I'm angry at the establishment sort of thing, and yeah, they kind of made it their own.
So let me ask you about this BTC. Have you been following what? Well, actually, yeah, you were on the call the other day where there was a debate between Jack Pitts and Raphael were debating about the block sizes again, and Raphael
Yeah,
says now he seems very convinced and very convincing that they're already decided, like they're expanding the block size. It's happened. He almost talks about it as it's past tense, and
yeah.
like they've enabled these op codes. It's already happened. Don't get left behind. What do you know about what's going on with the op codes and the building the block size?
I know that it's a rehashing of everything we've done before. We've already had this fight about opcodes and block sizes and stuff. I'm pretty sure the people that actually decide what happens on the GitHub have already made the decision that they're not going to do it. And they're not really going to enable anything else anymore because they need to assure people that Bitcoin is as decentralized as possible. So that means changes are very difficult to get in. So of course, whatever changes they think are going to happen are going to take a long time if they do. But the block size is one that they cannot concede because it means that they were on the wrong side of history when we did it last time. And it's also an admission that Bitcoin does scale, and it scales the way we all assumed it did, which is an unlimited block size, and the miners do everything, and you hold your transactions and prove that they're part of the block header chain. Um, they they can't make that admission, otherwise their ideology falls down, and BTC is just held up by ideology and only ideology. Also fake tethers and stuff. But
Tether. Yeah. Oh, speaking of
that's a bit
Tether,
more of a complex game.
yeah. Speaking of, okay, so for people who haven't heard the debate, let me just plug that. It was, I'll put it in the link below. It's in the third hour. It's called The Investing Space with Kurt Walker Jr., and it's the third hour with Jack Pitts and Raphael. They're talking back and forth. So I'll put that in the link below.
I will
Yeah.
say in that I do mention that if I was a newbie into this entire thing, I would buy BTC and BSV. That's not anything that I recommend anyone doing. I make stupid decisions a lot of the time, and well, I would not touch BTC simply because it's propped up by fraud. Yes, everything's fraud, but do you really want to participate in that? It could go to 100,000, but there's it's a lot of risk for not very much gain.
All right, so
It's
you also I saw you posting about Tether on X recently, and so there was a chart about Tether going like this. What can you explain what's going on with Tether? Maybe for the people who don't know about
uh
what Tether is and all that, and can you just give a little background on it?
Tether is a stable coin that was built by a group that then sold it to iFinex, which is the parent company of Bitfinex. And Bitfinex is a derivatives platform that was built very well and allowed you to do 100x leverage. So it used to be a game, people go onto Bitfinex and trade 100x leverage and then get liquidated of their entire account in minutes. Because of course that's kind of what happens. But they own effectively the stable coin Tether. They lost a lot of Bitfinex, around the same time that Tether became a thing. And they did a reverse ICO where it was like, okay, we've lost your money. Here's a token. It represents $1, and we'll trade it. And if you don't think that it's actually worth $1, you can sell it for 50 cents or maybe even less. So they kind of did a reverse ICO and got away with it because then they paid everyone back. But of course, some people sold the dollar at like 2 cents, or whatever when they thought the company was going to go bankrupt. So yeah, they are kind of doing the same thing with Tether in that sometimes they're a little short on their backing, so they fractional reserve it and buy assets when the assets pump because they've bought them, they sell them on the market. And it's very easy to see that this is what they're doing. If you literally just put the BTC price with the market cap of Tether together, you can see that the market cap of Tether increases and then BTC increases. And you could say that, oh yeah, it's because they're got customers that are buying Tether and then buying BTC, but it happens so consistently and it happens the other way around in that the market cap of Tether will plummet and then BTC will drop out as well. So if it was people fleeing Bitcoin, it should be the other way around, in that the price of BTC plummets and then the market cap of Tether comes down as people exit. But that's not the way it occurs. So you can see that the entire market is really held up by Tether, because everything follows BTC, and that's pretty well known by now.
Yeah, there was a court case in New York where the Tether was found. They were found in contempt, or they were found guilty, or they lost. Do you remember what
They were
happened?
found to not have a one-to-one backing as claimed at all times. And that's all the way these things work. You never have all the coin or all the assets at a time, but you do have a facility to grab it for part time, but then you've got to give it back, so you're kind of below again, and that's strictly for appearances. Um, I think it's quite likely that Tether has a lot of assets, which makes them a risk for other people if they were to go down. Um, but that's it's very hard to tell what game is being played at that sort of level. How long do you let a fraud continue uh, as a government? Because if that fraud collapses, then you're, tragically wounded as well. And there's an election cycle coming up, so you can't necessarily have that kind of blemish on your record at the beginning of an election cycle.
So one of the other things that are going around on the online right now is the Bitcoin logos, and there's three different logos. There's a straight up B, there's a crooked B to the left and one to the right. There's a green one to the left and one to the right, which is a gold one. So what's the story behind these?
Uh, it is very simple and basic. The fact that Craig created the logo, or sorry, Satoshi created the logo, and then as it evolved, they cleaned it up a bit. quite a lot. But one of the things they did is they tilted the logo.
In
And
in the
when the
in the early days,
Bitcoin
was it
port
straight up?
happened, yeah, on the first logo, it was straight up. But it was also like a favicon, which you see at the top of websites, like this tiny little logo that you could barely see. Um, but they cleaned it up and tilted the B, made the orange logo just solid. And then when the fork happened, they tilted it the other way, changed the color. And then when the other fork happened, uh, it was kind of funny because uh, from our perspective, we see the other two as fraudulent, and they've got crooked Bs, and we say we're the original, and we've got an upstanding B, which is what the original logo was in the first place. So you can see that the culture of uh, the culture of the ideology behind each coin is actually coming through into its own branding. The fact that the other two are crooked and we're straight up.
So that's just by accident or by luck. It's not. There's no
Yeah, I
precedent
mean,
or.
I like to say that higher powers talk in coincidences. So I would say that, it was almost always going to happen like this. But that's then a philosophical rabbit hole that I think might won't fit in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the Satoshi case, man? The Craig Wright and Copa court case. What are your thoughts on what's going on with that?
The appeal's in. It's 500 something pages. I'm not sure we'll ever get to see what's in those 500 pages. Apparently, Craig had a deadline to cut it down, according to Mark Hunter from the Doctor Podcast series, Doctor Bitcoin series. Sorry. Um, yeah, we're waiting for more documents to be filed, really. I think the grounds for appeal are there, and I don't think there's just one thing that could be picked up. I think there's a multitude, and that's probably why it's 500-page appeal. I probably wouldn't have submitted a 500-page appeal. I would have probably picked out two or three things to say that two or three of the strongest things that I want to appeal on. But some people have a habit of overdoing everything because they're passionate about it and they don't want to make a mistake. But sometimes overdoing it is the mistake.
And do we know if he's got a law firm helping him or not, or if he's doing it himself?
Word on the street is that he is actually representing himself. And I don't think we'll ever get video of Craig standing there behind the desk in front of a judge trying to argue his case. But it'd be pretty cool to be in the room if he does.
And do you know, like he's been active on, is that his ex, is that, do you know if that's actually his, I mean, you were one of the guys behind the Satoshi account on Twitter, right? Back in the day.
Yeah, well, it was taken
Or
away from us by someone. But yeah, it was just someone that uh, is very aligned with BSV. He's been around since, 2012 or something. And he had the opportunity to purchase the account, and he did. And then, they grew it by posting the white paper, and it had 100 something thousand followers. And then we started doing spaces, and we always knew it was risky. Uh, and no one really wants to show their face in this game, which gives the people that don't care the opportunity to really create the character that other people see, I guess. Um, but yeah, it was an interesting road. I wrote and poured quite a lot of time and energy into some of the speeches. I think we've got recordings of some of them. So maybe they'll actually make a good YouTube video or something, just for the record. Yeah, and then it was taken away from us on January 1st by the person that created the account or someone within X. We don't know who, but because X KYCs their customers and defaults to first email address we saw is the one that we will correspond with if there's ever an issue. Um, it leaves the door open for people to sell accounts and then renege them,
mm,
which shouldn't necessarily be selling accounts anyway, but I don't know. I didn't buy it, so it's nothing to do with me.
I see. So you but you have definitely a lot of history in this, and I'm wondering your what you think about if that's actually his new account that he's under right now, C Tominga.
It's definitely Craig, and you can tell by the way he posts because,
Yeah.
like I just said, he tends to overdo things, and he's posting a lot.
Okay.
Sorry,
And
sweet wine gum.
he's been posting a lot on there. Is there anything that you any takeaways that you want to share from all of his threads that
Um,
come to mind that are like
Read
really?
them. I would definitely read them because Craig explains the same thing, but he explains it in so many different ways, and he does that at different stages of both the audience's understanding and his own of how to explain what he created. Um, so it's always interesting to just kind of like keep keep watching and reading, because maybe he lets out a little secret and that triggers something in your head of like, oh, I can build this on Bitcoin, or oh, I didn't realize that the theory worked that way. That's another analogy that we can use to like explain how this stuff actually works.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a thread that over the weekend on Sunday that a guy had put on there. I think it was Trader Eric, and then Craig, and then Ian Grigg were a part of it. And then they brought me into it, and they said that Rick, he said, or Eric, he said, go on Gavin's show, show yourself. We think this is a fake account. And then they went on. It went on for a long time. Ian Grigg started posting. So what's holding him back? I mean, if it's him,
well, Craig doesn't do what he's told. That's that's a benefit and a drawback. And he's got his own way of doing things. Uh, he's not the type of person to respect anyone enough to take advice, I think. And that's probably, I bet you could actually look into history and find that trait in a lot of the great people that have, done something important. That they basically just tell everyone else to get lost because they don't know what they're talking about. They know their specific field. With Craig, it's even more difficult because he's across so many. And you'll get some people that are very well versed in some parts of the field and go, well, Craig isn't quite right about that. Um, and I think that's human. You don't get everything right all the time. If you actually go through some of Craig's transcripts, it's like some of the courses he's getting C's and D's. But it's enough for a pass, and that means he does get that degree. And you don't know what else he was doing during that time of study. So
Yeah, he's definitely got conviction, that's for sure, and he's very little influence from anybody else. I mean, it's his original ideas and what he's putting out. So hats off to him, man. So, all right. So the what else are you up to, my man? I know you're. What else is on your mind with Dark to Light? What's going on with that?
yeah, Dark to Light is trundling along. I think everyone in BSV is part of the same boat. Some people are jumping off, some people are sinking, but it's a long slog. We've got comments available under the questions now, which you can only see after you've answered the question. So we're not manipulating the audience one way or the other before they answer. And there's a revenue share with the person that asked the question for that as well. So yeah, it's a small improvement, but there's other things coming, hopefully in the next few weeks as well.
How does the revenue share work?
Oh, so we take a small fraction of the payment depending on what its action is, and then the rest of it goes to the person that created the piece of content. In ours platform, you have to pay, at least 50 cents to ask a question. But then if it's a big question that blows up and has thousands of comments under it, you might make $10 or something.
And
It's
right
not huge
now,
money, but it's
so right
and
now your Rails, is it BSV only for payments?
yeah, BSV only. We only touch BSV when we uh, deposit and spend money and withdraw, because you build up a balance as you answer questions, and it's tenth of a cent per vote, but tenth of a cent will add up considerably if BSV ever scales
And
or
is
our
it
business.
paid out on smart contracts?
No, we're just doing simple payments. All our business logic is in our servers and on your phone.
And so, what have you considered doing payment rails like PayPal or something or whatever? I mean, working with a company like that, if they offered BSV.
We're hoping to integrate credit card payments so that you can effectively buy the questions with regular money. That's a bit more complicated, um, especially as we're only paying out in BSV. So at some point, it would have to either be converted or we have to enable withdrawals on fiat. But yeah, it's all things we're working on.
I mean, what about the stablecoin implementation that's coming? I mean, how would that
Yeah,
how would
we
that affect things?
that would make things easier. We can just integrate the stablecoin and allow you to buy and withdraw with that right alongside our existing BSV infrastructure, just because it's um, it's using the same infrastructure. It's the same packet types.
Yeah. And that stablecoin, have you been following it at all? It's called Money.
A little bit, a little bit. These stablecoin projects always take a while to get some momentum. Money's a clever name. I'll give them that. It's a bit awkward to first read it, but once you get it, you're like, ah,
It is
it sticks
awkward
in
to
your head.
first read it. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And are you allowed to talk about, I don't know if it's a pop well, it was on the thing yesterday. There was a show with the Teranode guys on the BSV channel and they had AWS on there. Can you comment at all about AWS? They were on the BSV show. Jordan was on there on public.
Oh, the CoinGeek uh YouTube channel published a
Yeah, it
video
was
for
about the London
London
blockchain, and
blockchain.
they had those guys on there. He was only on there for a brief minute, but don't you, do you want to
Yeah,
comment at
it
all?
it was a panel of Siggy, Jordan from AWS, Siggy's at Nchain, and one of the guys from Aerospike. And they used Aerospike to manage the blockchain. Uh, and Aerospike is a reputable database company that is used by like Adobe, Sony, PayPal, Snapchat, and in a lot of these new AI companies. Um, and the panel's great. I recommend people go and watch it. It's a shame it was so short, but I think it was straight to the point and makes you a bit excited for what's coming down the pipeline in the future because it seems like they finally cracked the services aspect of blockchain and how it should be architectured, which
Yeah.
is exactly what Teranode is.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be something that is not cheap to put together like that. I can't imagine what they're spending on that. I heard it was I don't even know. They're spending a lot to
It's millions of dollars a month at
millions
least.
a month. Yeah, easily. So this is a serious project. Yeah, I'll post a link to that panel here in the description or at the end of this video if anybody wants to check it out. It was at the London Blockchain Conference. I did see it. I think I saw it live. I definitely was there. I don't remember if I saw it live or not, but I'll post it there. I watched it again yesterday. It's really good. And you can check out AWS and Aerospike on there. So yeah, man, Alex, this is great. So where can people find you?
X, Slack, uh, LinkedIn,
It's
and Alex
Roman D.
Fauvel.
Fauvel.
On X, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you just type in Fauvel, I'm like the only person because
Okay.
it's
Fauvel on
me.
X.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, man. I'll get this out there. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again soon, man. I'll see you at the top. All right. I'll end it there.
Cheers, Gavin.